I have an issue with Abdul Carter. The first time he did it was cute. The second time he did it, I'm losing my patience. As you may recall, he requested Lawrence Taylor's number. Mm-hmm. Lawrence Taylor pretty quickly said, yeah, make your own legacy, not going to happen. On Friday, on a podcast, Phil Simms was asked about, hey, would you give up 11 to Abdul Carter, a number he wore in college? Take a listen to Phil Simms' answer.
Hey, look, I told some of my friends and people around me, I said, I'd let him have it in a second. I said, can you just help it a little and make it better or whatever? I think it would be a lot of fun. It wouldn't bother me. But
would you really? Really, though? I mean, that's a pretty big honor, the 11. You're not going to give up,
it is,
right? Yeah.
It's just whatever. I don't know. I just go, if they really want it. But my wife, I don't know if my family said anything. The boys didn't say anything. But my agent, don't you dare give up that jersey number. Well, first off, Abdul Carter's going to ask for it. But if he would have, if it was up to me, I probably would give it to him.
So based on that, Phil's family gets to Phil and says, what the hell are you doing? You're not giving up 11. And so Phil Simms comes out and says, look, I'm not giving it out. My family vetoed it. But my issue isn't with Phil and his family, though we'll address that in a few minutes. Abdul, you haven't done a damn thing in the NFL. You've been a New York Giant for 30 seconds. His first actions as a Giant is to blatantly say I want 56 from LT and now imply I want 11 from Phil Simms. Well, what are we doing? Like, how is this not embarrassing to the Giant fan? A franchise with a proud legacy.
Are you
This
serious?
guy hasn't done anything, and you're okay with him going out there and saying, I'll take 11, I'll take 56.
I am.
Bro.
I am. He had all he's do is have a conversation. He had a conversation with LT. It got shot down. Here's my issue. My issue is more with Phil Simms and Abdul Carter.
Phil Simms did nothing wrong.
Yes, he did. And I love Phil. When Phil says on that podcast, and I quote, you just heard it, I'd give him number 11 in a heartbeat. Phil, with all due respect, you're using your family to deflect. You really wouldn't give him a heartbeat.
No.
What is this? He's alive and well. What is his family even to do with it? It's his number.
Let me tell you something about Phil Simms. And I don't even know him that well. I've met him a couple of times, but there's something pretty obvious about Phil Simms. If you listen to him with Boomer and Gio, if you watched him on TV for all those years, he is a humble guy.
He is.
No, hold on. A lot of guys aren't humble. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with not being humble. Lawrence Taylor is are you effing kidding me kind of guy?
Right.
I think Boomer's that kind of guy, too. Like, no, I'm proud of my legacy. I'm not handing you my number. And there's nothing wrong with that. Phil Simms has a very shucks, I'm a good guy, not going to ruffle any feathers. I'm proud of what I did, but I'm from the Bob Uecker school of mocking what I did. Now, anyone who watched Phil knows he's a great player. Joe always used to argue he's a Hall of Famer. So he's a great football player who plays the humble game. You know who also does that? Ron Darling does that. Yeah. Not saying Ron's a Hall of Famer, but listen to the way Ron Darling talks on SNY versus Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez is like, I ain't giving anything back. I was a damn good player. And Ron Darling's like, gee, I'm just so happy to let me pitch the second game of the season. And that's what makes Ronnie such a nice guy. Like, it's a great quality. He's a humble guy. All Phil did in that clip was be humble. He gets home. He doesn't want to give 11 out to a guy who hasn't done a damn thing in the NFL.
Yeah, he could answer that differently, Evan.
That's not his personality.
But you could be humble and answer. Definitely be like, look, it's just a number, but it was a great honor to have it retired by the Giants. There's a million other numbers out there. I'd personally, at this time of my life, still like to have it retired.
Why is this kid putting Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor in this position to say no?
Great point. You know why?
What?
Because the Giants put him in this position when they unretired Ray Flaherty's number.
I disagree with that.
No. We all agreed at the time, what do you mean? The Giants are going to unretire numbers? And we all agreed after it was done, we all learned a little bit about Ray Flaherty and his family allowed it. I understand all of that. And Malik Nabers wearing number 1 was fine. The truth is, whether we want to admit it or not, the Giants were at such a vulnerable state in their franchise when the owner watched Saquon Barkley leave and all the embarrassment and all of that they wanted to have their new star basically cater to him. And they gave Malik Nabers number 1 and unretired a number. The moment you do that, you open up the gates for this. If I'm Abdul Carter, I'm drafted higher than Malik Nabers. I think I'm going to be great. Why wouldn't I say that? So I don't blame the kid for asking for 56 and 11. The Giants opened up this can of worms last year with the freaking number 1.
Do you honestly think Abdul Carter knows anything about Ray Flaherty?
Do I think he knows? No.
Do you think he knows anything about what happened last year?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think he knows.
You don't think his agent informed him, by the way, if you want this, the Giants unretired a number from Malik Nabers
No,
last
I
year?
think it's about a kid who's got great confidence, and that's awesome.
Then why
but
would he
it's
know
gone
anything
way
about-
too far.
So if by that nature, a kid like that who never saw Lawrence Taylor play, he's well aware of Lawrence Taylor, but he has no idea through his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, that the Giants unretired a number last year?
I don't think that was the impetus of this. No.
How about just through social media? He could just see it online, too.
I don't think that's the impetus to this.
It was a huge story at the Giants.
I think this is about a kid who may well be a great player, and I hope he is, but I don't know how this isn't rubbing you the wrong way.
It's not, because the Giants told me as a
I
fan,
have a
you can
theory.
ask for your number to be unretired.
No, I have a theory.
All right, let's go. Let's hear your fear.
And unfortunately, I'm going to be outvoted by everybody because I'm surrounded by Giant sycophants. Except for you, Rosie. I guess you could be honest. I think they're so desperate. And I get being desperate. I'm a Jet fan. Trust me. I think they're so desperate to turn this around that they're okay with what the great young player is requesting. But if this was 2012, you would not be good with this. If Jason Pierre-Paul came into this league and said, I want 56, you'd be like, who the hell are you? And I think that your badness has turned you guys, not all Giant fans, but specifically you two, because you've defended it, into whatever, gee, just give us whatever. We'll take it.
What changed for me as a fan is what happened last year. I was against it, unretiring numbers for a guy who's never played. And then the moment it happened and you saw how little a deal it actually was in real life, I realized, not that big a deal.
Well, no,
the number
because
stays
it
retired.
was a guy that most Giant fans hadn't heard of versus legends like LT and Phil Simms.
That doesn't matter.
Oh, well, it matters to why there was no reaction to it last year.
With all due respect, and I know they're living, they're very much with it. Do you know how long ago Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms played? You brought up the idea of 45 and younger. There's not that many 40 and younger people that see Phil Simms and LT.
But, Sean, here's the difference. When it's the generation right before you, right?
Okay.
Because I agree with you. I saw LT play his last season in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see LT in his prime. Same thing with Phil Simms. It's still different than the guy that was 70 years earlier because your dad's telling you all about it.
Great.
Like, you named your daughter after Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, sure, great.
You didn't watch him play.
And I hope my grandkid is named Carter.
But would you have named a son if you had one after Charlie Connolly?
If my dad told me stories about Charlie Connolly,
But that's my point, because that's another generation
So now
ago.
I'm going to give a crap about what my dad said? That means a number doesn't get retired?
No, I'm saying that's the difference between asking for Lawrence Taylor's number and Phil Simms' number.
What's the worst that happens? We're going to forget that Phil Simms wore 11 and LT wore 56?
It's not that they're the
number.
It's not that it's the worst thing that could happen. It's that, dude, it's over the top ridiculous.
Stop it. I'd unretire Babe Ruth's number today. It's enough already.
Yeah, my stance on this, and it's not just the Giants, it's any team. If the player's okay with it, and if they're living or dead, if they're dead, and if their family's okay with it, and then if John Mara signs off on it or any owner, then I don't care. It's a number. I'm not a gatekeeper for that. If the family's okay with it, if the player's okay with it, if ownership's okay with it, then
But
have at
before
it.
we get down that road, how about the player asking for it? So let's say today.
He didn't ask for Phil Simms' number, though.
No, he alluded to it. He definitely alluded to it.
No, he did not.
Yes,
Bill
he did.
kind of brought it up because he was asked about it.
We know he directly asked for LT's number. He never directly asked for Simms' number. But again,
So now we're playing the semantics game?
Yeah,
he
but-
asked for Lawrence Taylor's number.
So the semantics game is what the Giants told us last year from ownership down is if a player's dead, you could ask for their number. If not, don't bother.
Would you be okay if Brett Beatty, who just got recalled, said, you know what? I lost 22 to Soto. Fine, I got a car out of it. I want to wear 31. Would you be good with that?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
If Mike's okay with it,
If
and if
Mike's
Steve Cohen's
okay with it,
yes,
you
it's
would-
his number.
You'd be okay with watching Brett Beatty with 31
It's
for the
not
Mets?
my number. It's really so. In the case of Lawrence Taylor, I believe it's actually really John Mara's number. He owns the freaking team, but Lawrence wore it. It's Lawrence's
Oh, my
legacy.
God, what happened here?
It doesn't
hold
mean
on.
Lawrence Taylor is not the greatest defensive player of all time.
Let's be
if his
real.
number's being worn.
We're talking about literal number retirements or not. I ask you, Evan, what is a bigger disgrace? The Giants' third overall pick that everybody thinks is unanimous to be a superstar in the league wearing 56 and 11, or Mason Crosby kicking wearing Tiki's number?
Well, but they didn't retire the number.
Okay, but that's my point, though.
It's a different argument.
They've already juggled whose numbers get retired and who's not. That's a bigger disgrace.
I guess I have more respect for franchise's history than you guys. You guys
can't
have no respect for it.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
That's
and the
it.
toothpaste is now out. And there's no negative if you're going to ask for it for Abdul Carter. Big deal. They say no. He's still going to play for the Giants.
Here's the negative, and obviously you guys don't feel this way, and that's okay. If the Jets drafted someone in the first round and he went around asking for legend numbers, I would already have a bad taste in my mouth about him. I would hope he's great because at the end of the day, I want my team to be great. So obviously you want Abdul Carter to be a superstar, but I'd always have this, who the hell do you think you are, man? Like, boy, you better be an all-time great.
But I love that.
You
You're
love
asking
it
for the
now
pressure.
because he hasn't done anything yet.
Guys who don't have the confidence, don't ask for the number.
Let me ask you a question, both of you. I want you to make me a promise. Let's say, and I don't want to say I'm rooting for this kid to be a bust. I'm not. Other than this, like, I hope he's a wonderful player. But let's say he's not. Let's say he struggles. Let's say he's even like Kayvon Thibodeau, where there's an argument on if he's a bust or not.
Thibodeau.
Right? Whatever. Will you guys ever, in your passionate rants about the Giants, will you bring this up? Or will this always be dead to you? Or will you say, this guy wanted 56?
Nope.
He can't.
Nope.
Like, you're promising me you'll never bring this up?
I'm promising you because I can't blame the player after the Giants did this with Malik Nabers.
Yeah,
I refuse to.
I think you're full of crap. How about you, Tommy?
I will never say it because my stance remains the same. I don't care if the player doesn't care, the family doesn't care, and the ownership doesn't care. Then I don't. It's their number, not mine.
Yeah. These guys are so desperate for winning. If we have a new audio drop coming from the voice guy here at WFAN, and it's going to be, Paul Turner, the voice guy?
Yeah.
It's going to be, you're listening to a New York Giants circle twerk on WFAN. And that's what this would be.
I don't even think we need Paul to voice it. You just nailed it.
Like you're twerking. You know what I mean?
You don't have to explain. We know the
No,
twerk.
just explain
We've seen
it.
a twerk in our day.
We'll get back to your phone calls coming up at 888-808-1019.